Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 105 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on March 15th, 2022. How you folks doing? Man, I hope you're doing well. The weather is changing. It is, man. Spring might actually be coming. It might be, which is nice. Yeah, this past weekend was super cold. But today it was like in the 70s, so it was pretty nice. I have to say, I ate lunch outside. It was great. Yeah, man, can't complain. Can't complain until, of course, it hits 100 degrees, which shouldn't be too long now. It is what it is. Not too far off from that. I did have something I wanted to tell you guys about. I got this really cool vehicle accessory, and I don't know, you can fast forward if you want, but this is awesome. I wanted to share it with you. So, and believe me, I have no affiliation with this thing, but it knocked my socks off. So I was like, man, I want to tell people about this. I got it from Amazon and it works. So I use Android Auto in my truck, right? With the factory sound system. So typically what I do, I connect my phone to one of the factory USB ports in the truck, and the factory head unit recognizes that my phone's connected. It starts the Android Auto application on the phone, and subsequently, it allows data transfer to the head unit. Like, that's kind of how that system works, right? So what that does is it lets Google Maps be displayed on the screen in my truck instead of looking at the factory vehicle navigation. You know what I'm saying? So what it also does is it allows for the transmittance of higher bitrate audio from the phone to the head unit. Okay, so like for example, if you were just to connect your phone to your car stereo with Bluetooth, for example, like if you had a wireless Bluetooth connection, it's unlikely that the Bluetooth protocol is advanced enough to have the high quality codec, so the audio quality is just not as good, and you can tell, or at least I can. And so, and also, you wouldn't get Google Maps with that. It'd be wireless with Bluetooth, but the functionality is limited. So, Android Auto is superior to that. And I think for those of you who don't have Android phones, you have an iPhone, the equivalent of Android Auto, I think on iPhones is called Apple CarPlay or something. I think it's called CarPlay. I'm not an Apple guy. My woman, she is. She's got the whole iPhone thing. I'm not. It's a house divided, okay? It's a whole thing. But yeah, so anyway, one problem with Android Auto, though, is the data bus. Okay, and so the USB-C connection on a lot of these new phones, on these Android phones, it's pretty good, right? But the protocol for data stream delivery, it seems to dictate a connection quality that's significantly more picky or strict than power delivery. Okay, because keep in mind, like the USB-C connection on the phone, it's delivering power, but it's also delivering data. You feel me? So, like, the more you use that cable and your phone connection, and it seems to, over many years of trying this, it seems to become less reliable over time. And when that connection hiccups, when it loosens or something, could be dirt, it could be the cable shifting or whatever, it completely ends the Android Auto session. It terminates the session, right? And it's a pain in the butt. If you're listening to music, the music stops, your navigation drops off the screen, and it's inconvenient when you're driving, right? And frankly, it could induce a safety hazard. If you try to fix that, if you try to troubleshoot while driving, you might be more likely to create a safety hazard. Because I'm not really blaming this technology. I'm blaming the person, but I'm just telling you it could create circumstances in which it could be dangerous. So I say all this to say, dude, there is this dongle you can buy. Motorola makes it. It's a MA1, so Mike Alpha 1. It's not even expensive. It's less than $100. I can't remember how much it cost. It's $80, $90, something like that. With today's inflation is like $3. So yeah, but check it out. Here's what you do. You plug this little dongle into your factory USB port in your vehicle, right? Just like you would plug in your USB cable to the phone. Dude, this little dongle, it creates its own Wi-Fi network. You don't just simply connect to the Wi-Fi network, right? You follow the instructions that come with it. It shows you how to pair it, and there's always, I don't know. We were actually driving out to the ranch, and I had my girl. She was in the car with me. I was like, hey, can you like get this set up while I'm driving and see if it works? She's like, sure. So she Googled the instructions on her phone. She set it up. My phone connected to it. It's awesome. It's a high-speed connection through 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi to this dongle, and it's basically, and the Android Auto session starts. Everything that was wired is wireless now. It's good audio quality. Your Google Maps is there on the head unit. You're good, dude. It's just Android Auto's working. Same thing as before, but wireless. And all you need is this adapter. I was like, what? It's crazy, dude. And some of the newer head units have wireless Android Auto built in, I think. But many existing ones don't. So this Motorola thing works. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. I've used it for about 4 days now. And it works. It like you get in the car, I start my truck, I have the phone on the console there. You give it a second, it'll automatically start the Android Auto session wirelessly. I don't have to touch the phone. I'm like, oh my God, it's awesome. So yeah, I hope that helps at least one person out there. I found mine on Amazon. I actually looked a couple times. It's usually sold out, so I had to, like whenever it says, when you go to an item on Amazon and it says click the more buying options, you click that. Make sure when you click that, you find like sold by Amazon, not some kind of crazy third party that's going to screw you. But yeah. Anyway, I hope that's informative. Let's talk about silencers. You can buy them on Amazon, but don't tell the ATF that. Yeah, wait, no, actually the ATF already knows that. We'll talk about that on today's episode a little bit. We will. Yeah, we actually, that will be talked about. The J Situation podcast is proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop. You can use their kiosk. You can do your fingerprints and photos electronically. You can cut down on errors. You can simplify your silencer purchasing process. That's right. Silencer Shop will give you a money-back guarantee for the silencer you buy. No transfer fees. No paperwork errors. Just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. That's right. Thanks, Silencer Shop. I appreciate you supporting the podcast. Secondly, the J Situation podcast is brought to you by True Shot Gun Club out of Arizona. That's right. If you click on the show notes for the episode here today, there is a link. It'll take you to their website. If you buy ammo by using that link, it helps the podcast and it helps PEW Science. That's right. You can join their club, I think it's called the A-Zone membership. It's basically like the Amazon Prime, but for ammo. If you want to join and get free shipping on all of your ammunition that you buy from them, you can use code word PEW Science at checkout and get $20 off that membership. That's right. That's right, you can. So you win, they win. Everyone wins. You help the podcast, boom. And you get ammo. How about that? With free shipping, no less. And lastly, this podcast is sponsored by PEW Science, pushing the silencer industry forward one test at a time. You can visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating, the simplest and the most accurate hearing safe rating for you to suppress small arms. That's right. The suppression rating is a simple metric, and it is based on true human sound perception of the entire gunshot from before combustion takes place all the way until the combustion is gone. That's right. It's in Section 5 of the Silencer Sound Standard. It's awesome. It's all there on pewscience.com. It's going to walk you through gunshot noise, sort of like Wikipedia, but way cooler. That's right, because it's about silencers. There are 7 parts. They're all on the website for you to read. If you haven't seen it, that's fine. Skip to Section 5. It's going to brief you very quickly and succinctly on what the suppression rating is, all right? It's going to let you know how silencers stack up in comparison to one another with regard to sound at the muzzle and at the shooter's ear. And it's going to give you a hearing-safe dose limit for the particular platforms in which the silencers are tested. That's right, directly tied to human perception. If it's higher, it's going to sound better. If it's lower, it's going to sound louder. That's all there is to it, man. It's really more specifically tied to hearing damage risk. Okay, so what actually matters for your ears. No subjectivity, guys. This is an objective metric. All right? You're not going to find it anywhere else in the world. If it were anywhere else, I promise I would have used it. The sixth section of the standard contains all the reviews. And, if you don't want to look at them, you say, Jay, you've gone off the deep end. This is crazy. What? You're going to write a dissertation on each silencer? It's like, well, maybe. Maybe I am. But I understand sometimes that can be overwhelming. So if you do want to see a summary of all of this stuff, go to Section 7, Rankings. There is a table. It's sortable, filterable, and you can manipulate all that data. You can look at it, and to your heart's content, you might find something you like. You click on the individual links there to the reviews in the table, and it'll take you back to Section 6, and you can peruse. As always, if you are a manufacturer and you would like to use PEW Science for private testing and consulting services, there's a form on the website. You can submit that inquiry. Any inquiry you send to PEW Science is confidential. It's between you and I. Between you and me? Between you and me. And all test data that we generate as part of any contracted effort is held in strict confidence, unless, of course, you would like to release it to the public, in which case I can certainly help you do that. And, this week, I think you guys are going to see some more of that from PEW Science. We're going to release some more contracted data this week. I love doing it. It's awesome. It's a strong first quarter. I'm going to show you guys some cool stuff. That's right. You can support this podcast, PEW Science, and all of the testing I do by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. And by doing that, you get more data. You help the effort. It's a win-win. There's a donate function on the website. If you don't like a monthly fee, you just want to donate a little bit, you can do that too. You can give a little bit. You can give a lot of it. Or you can give nothing at all. It's okay. And something that is free and encouraged, actually, you can go on your favorite podcast provider and rate the podcast there. If you give us a good rating on Spotify or on iTunes, that really helps. It'll help spread the word. Algorithmically, help people with the journey to normalize suppressed small arms in our lifetime. That is really the overall goal of this entire effort. That's right. 4 topics for you today. We're going to get silly, but maybe not silly. Topic 1, should you Form 1 a potato? No. But also yes. Yeah. Let's talk the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearm, Explosive Technical Bulletins. Yeah. Tech branch guys. Let's talk that. Topic 2. Listener questions are back. Let's wrap up the last solicitation. Let's get it done. I think we can. I think we're going to give it the old college try. I think it's one of my favorite things to do. I think we can get through them today. We need to, because we need to make room for more. Some of these questions are quite out of date by this time. And topic 3, new sound signature review this week. Yeah. Yes, I think so. And multiple, actually. I think you're going to get multiple sound signature reviews, so it should be interesting, to say the least. And topic 4, PEW Science was funded to benefit the end user. And so I really want to give a thank you to all of those end users that are out there, the consumers and the military folks, law enforcement folks, and the government folks too. All those end users are all benefiting. Your support and your confidence in the effort is heartwarming. Okay, I'm honored to have it, and I would like to give you a shout out for that. Okay, let's go into topic 1 at a time of 13 minutes. And nope, I was too slow on the draw. 14 minutes and 8 seconds. Man, 14 minutes, that's a long one. But hey, I wanted to tell you about that dongle. Let me get a drink of water 1 second. It's funny, I called it a dongle. That's not really what that is. I mean, I guess it's a dongle in a sense that it connects to a device, but I guess it is a dongle. Back in the day when we had copy protection for certain, or not only copy protection, but more like security or encryption technology for software application use. Like, those like really expensive computer programs that you would buy to calculate section properties or of certain things, or anyway, like some engineering programs. A lot of times these software programs were so expensive, and people didn't want people just giving them to their friends or whatever, and they wanted to keep making money. So the software companies, they would ship these programs with dongles, and if you didn't have that dongle plugged in the back of your, I don't know, it could have been your back of your parallel port on your, I'm dating myself now, but this is way before USB, but you put it in the back of your computer there, and if you didn't have that, the software program wouldn't work. We call those dongles. Anyway, this Motorola thing isn't really doing that. It's actually helping you. It's actually like facilitating connection to the unit. Anyway, if you didn't listen to the intro, well, you missed the dongle talk. Topic 1, should you form one a potato? Really, you should not. But also, you might need to. And I want to speak about it. Guys, the tech branch, and I have, what I'm going to do? I want to talk to you about something, and let me preface this. Actually, I think it's on my computer. Hold on. I'm going to try not to end this recording as I'm navigating. 1 second, please. All right, sort by date modified. I just downloaded these yesterday. It's ATF Tech Bulletins. These are coming from the ATF Firearms and Ammunition Technology Division. Okay, and I don't want to belabor the acronyms and everything, but this is like the tech branch guys, okay, they're in the ATF, and they are the ones not ruling, but they're the ones examining if items meet or don't meet certain definitions, legal definitions. You feel me? Okay. So, Gun Owners of America recently used a FOIA request, so Freedom of Information Act request, to get some of this information. Okay, so anyway, I just want to preface this. So, I know we're going to go into this potato talk, but I want you to know, there's a method to this madness, so stick with me. Now, I was explicitly asked by a listener to address this potato thing on the podcast, and I actually thought it was an interesting thought experiment. I did, and it fits in with the ATF Form 1 denial saga. So I was like, okay, I'm going to entertain this. We'll talk about Form 1 in a potato. All right, now, just to give you some background, recently, an individual was charged with using an illegal firearm silencer when he used a potato on the end of a gun. Okay, I don't know if you guys listen to Migos, but they talk about snub nose with potato. They put the potato on the snub nose, and everyone, all NFA guys know that suppressing a revolver is very difficult. Migos doesn't know that because they're Migos, and they don't know anything. They don't know what they're talking about. So the song's called Narcos. I like the song. Anyway. Yeah, so that guy got arrested, right? But hey, that was an add-on charge by authorities to other charges. And the ATF often likes to do that. If you do one illegal thing, they're going to try their best to get a full straight to jail bingo card on the docket, right? That's what they're going to do. It's just what they do. It's what the ATF does. It's what law enforcement does. They're going to stack those charges. And a lot of the barrel length rules, all that stuff, they don't usually get crazy strict enforcement unless you're doing other bad stuff. You feel me? Does that? I don't think I have to go into super crazy detail for that. Does that make sense to you? Okay. It's not legal advice. I'm not telling you what to do. This is an observation. Okay. So that happened. And since this guy got in trouble for a potato, right? He used a potato as a silencer. ATF said, hey, that's an illegal silencer. And it's stuck. The charge is stuck. So okay. So, since Form 1s have been recently denied, as we all know, And there ended up being a pretty entertaining topic on social media recently. It was on the NFA subreddit there. Shout out, powerful NFA subreddit. A gentleman postulated, he said, man, maybe someone should Form 1 a potato. And the argument goes like this. He said, if the ATF approves it and gives you a tax stamp for the potato, the gentleman there, he postulates that means that the ATF admitted that possessing the potato prior to approval was okay. Right? And thus possessing silencer parts prior to approval are okay because the potato was intended from the start to be a silencer. So he's saying their entire argument falls apart. That's what he's saying. Now, on the surface, this is hilarious. However, as any reasonable person understands, the potato has other clear uses, such as food. But the gentleman does have a point, because he did, at first, have intent to make the thing a silencer. So it does, in fact, call into question the ATF's language and determination on intent. And can we pull that up? Hold on a second. I wish I had someone to pull that up for me quickly. I could do it myself. Let's see. Yeah, because they said an excerpt here from the U.S. Code. Any device a silencer is any device for silencing, muffling, or diminishing the report of a portable firearm, including any combination of parts designed or redesigned and intended for use in assembling or fabricating a firearm silencer or silencer muffler, and any part intended for use only in such assembly or fabrication. So the potato is not intended only for use in such assembly or fabrication. So that last part, you can throw that away because we can eat potatoes. So it's not intended only for that. So you go to the first part and you say, well, including stuff that is designed or redesigned and intended for use in assembling or fabricating a firearm silencer. So the potato wasn't designed to be a silencer. And I guess when you put it on the gun, are you then redesigning it to be a silencer? At the end of the day, I'm not sure these semantic arguments matter, because what do we have? Well, we have precedent. What precedent do we have? Well, the guy got in trouble for it. The guy was charged with the potato was a silencer. The ATF ruled the potato was a silencer. So if you Form 1 a potato and it gets approved, I mean, the ATF is basically saying, yeah, you had the potato, you intended to use it as a silencer, and now as a silencer because you paid the tax, you have your approved Form 1. So looks like you can have something intended to be a silencer before it was a silencer. Yeah, there's that, right? And then, but what about the other part of his argument? Well, let's say they disapprove. I like that word, disapprove. Let's say they disapprove the form when they try to Form 1 the potato. Maybe they disapprove it based on intent or something, They say, well, disapproved. You can't register this. It's already a silencer. I said, whoa. I mean, that would really mean that root vegetables could technically be classified as unregistered silencers. It's ludicrous, okay? I mean, I can't think of another reason why they would disapprove the form, really, besides intent. And I think that is this gentleman's argument. I mean, there's case law precedent. Now, it shows that a potato can be used as a silencer, so to disapprove the application would certainly imply something interesting. It would. And so my verdict, do it. And see what happens, dude. $200? It's super cheap, considering inflation. That's $8. Right? $200 is like $8 now. It's fine. Your money's worth nothing. It's fine. So just do it. No, I'm joking. But I'm also not joking. I think you should do it. So, some people say, well, Jay, it's about intent. They can't prosecute you for having a bag of potatoes because they would have to prove intent. You're going to put them on a gun and not make a stew. How do we know you're not making a nice stew? Well, to that I say correct. However, I also say maybe you should form on the potato and see what happens. If they approve it, they let you have an intended silencer before it was registered. I don't know. That's illegal. Straight to jail. So if they deny it, show us why. Then we'll talk. That's my opinion on that. And I want to give you some, and like I said in the beginning, I want to give you some more background on this, and I wanted to share something else with you, to sort of bring this back to reality a little bit. Gun Owners of America, okay, and the salt of the earth, these guys, probably the only gun rights organization I believe in. That firearm policy coalition, they're okay, but these Gun Owners of America guys, I want to think they're on the right track. I want to hope. I want to pray. Now, these guys have been doing Freedom of Information Act requests, FOIA requests to the ATF. Okay? And again, like I said earlier, the ATF has the division, the Firearms and Ammunition Technology Division. It's the tech branch. It's the guys who determine what things are in accordance with the law. Okay, that's what these guys are doing. I'm not saying they're rocket scientists. I'm just saying that's their job. Okay, we don't have to talk about how good they are at their jobs. A couple of internal tech bulletins from those folks to ATF folks that were published in 2017 and 2019 were obtained through a FOIA request by Gun Owners of America. Okay, so these documents are unclassified. Okay, and they're marked law enforcement sensitive, so it's fine. They're obtained by a FOIA request. It's totally fine. So you can have the documents. It's no problem. They're PDFs. Don't worry about that. Now, these tech bulletins are intended to help ATF personnel in industry and in these field positions identify items that might be silencers. Okay, that's what that's nothing more, nothing less. That's what this is. They're like, here's some guidance to our field guys. If you see what these are, here's the background. Here's what we think they are. Okay, so it's an internal ATF help documentation thing. Okay, these two documents. Okay, yeah. You can actually, and you can find these two PDFs on the Gun Owners of America website. And I will, when I'm done recording this podcast and I put it and I upload it and I put the show notes together, what I'll do is I'll put a link in the show notes there, and it'll take you to the Gun Owners of America March 10th news brief, and you'll be able to download those two PDFs and you can read them for yourself. How about that? Yeah, you can click and download those, and I'll give you a link there. And you should read them. You really should. And I'm going to go back to something I said, I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before that. Remember when I said that the ATF will probably look at solvent traps and the intent of them being silencers and use thread pitch as a context? Remember I said that? I did say that on one of the previous episodes of the podcast. I remember saying it. That was a total guess, dude. I was completely guessing. Well, guess what, dude? Read the PDFs. And these PDFs were from years ago. Looks like I was right. And I swear I did not plan that. Like I did not have inside information. Like I was just guessing, and I guessed right. And it looks like they were already thinking along those lines. Why did I guess correctly? Well, because I was just like, it was a reasonable conclusion. So you see, you guys, a lot of times people think these are wizards. These are just people like you, and they're trying to do their jobs. Now, whether or not they're correct in what they're doing, that's a whole other story. I'm just telling you, like, when you come up with ideas like form wanting a potato, a lot of people want to laugh, but it's actually not the worst idea. I think one of you should form one a potato. Tell me how it goes. I see no reason why you shouldn't. I can't. I was thinking about it. I can't find a reason why you should not form one a potato. And when you do, whoever you are, I will test that potato for you with PewSoft. But I will only accept your potato with an approved copy of your Form 4 per typical. Do not send me potatoes without an approved Form 4. I will probably eat them, but I will not be happy. Okay? No, seriously though, I will. If whoever does this and they get it back approved, I'll test it. Okay. Or I don't know how long it'll keep in the whole process, but I'll test a potato for you. But it better come with a Form 4. You feel me? Because, if you're the manufacturer of the silencer, you can always destroy it and rebuild it with the same serial number, right? That's right, you can. Well, you'll maintain part of the skin and graft it. I don't know. All right, topic 2, a time of 30 minutes. No, 31 minutes and 4 seconds. I guess technically you're not supposed to destroy... Technically, you're not supposed to destroy the entire serialized part. It used to be you could. That's a whole other discussion. Okay, topic 2. Listener questions are back. That's right. Let's wrap up the last solicitation here. We did it. We are near the end of the third solicitation. Let's finish these now. I am running out of gas. I am so hungry. I got home from work. I was like, you know what? It's daylight savings time. It's really still bright outside. Let me knock out this podcast. But I have more to write for the sound signature reviews this week, and I haven't eaten dinner. I'm dying. I'm so hungry. I had a long day. All right, we're gonna move into these listener questions. I've opened my spreadsheet here. I'm losing my mind. Okay. All right. Where did we leave off? Oh, that's right. Last time in listener questions, we left off on question 182, sub-question 54 of the third solicitation. The question was OSS HXQD556K data for the Mark 18? Huh. Well, friends, I went on to say that, yeah, that's coming, and I'm actually pulling up pewscience.com right now to see when I published that data, but I published that on February 3rd. So a little over a month ago, you got that data. So how do you like them apples? I think what I told you guys when you asked, I said, yeah, thanks for reminding me. That's been tested. I better publish it. And I did. See how I deliver for you? That's right. So thank you, sir, man, for that question. Okay. Now, question 183, sub-question 55. How do you think the Surefire muzzle brake will compare to the 3-prong flash hider on the war comp and the war comp? I think I've probably been asked this question, I don't know, what would you say, 100 times? I think it's going to be extremely similar to the 3-prong with possibly more back pressure, but we'll see. I have some testing coming up, and if I have some time, that might be on deck as one of the experiments. I'm going to attempt to solve this riddle for you. For now, go 3-prong, dude. I have no hesitation with it. I know some folks are paranoid about damage to the blast baffle with a 3-prong, but I wouldn't worry too much about that, guys. If you damage your RC2 enough to need repair, that's what Surefire is there for. All right, I don't know that you need to really. I just don't think you need to be freaking out about that. I know there's those threads on ARFCOM with blast baffle wear on them and stuff, but I don't know. Just don't. You guys need to consider how much you actually shoot and what your firing schedule is, and what your barrel length is, and you need to be realistic with yourself. That's what I think. So thank you for that question, sir, ma'am. I thought that was helpful. I'm sure you probably found that information on the internet elsewhere already, but I hope that helps you. Question 184, sub-question 56. Thoughts on the new SIG silencers, SLH and SLX variants? Thank you. Oh, well, you're most welcome, sir, ma'am. I have those silencers. They're going through testing now. You should note that these are exactly like the old SIG silencers with cone baffles, except they have an outer section that vents directly, like a outer coaxial section. It's not. These are not that complicated. So my guess is that they're gonna flow fast and be loud. That's my guess right now. It's only a guess. I'm gonna test and let you know. Please do not take that as gospel yet, but I'm not looking at these to be super crazy great. I don't know. We'll see. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, that's awesome. The more great stuff we have, the better, right? At least we'll know. Okay? Okay. So thank you for that question. I think a lot of people are wondering about that. Question 185, so question 57. Any updates on helmet-mounted thermal? Oh, man. OG PEW Science member, listener guy here. I think I know who asked that. No, sir. I have been so busy. Like, it's really hard. I will say this. I need a helmet for the PVS 14 that I'm messing with. I have a PVS 14 that I'm messing with right now. I'm more of a thermal guy, as you folks who've listened to the podcast for, and who if you know me, you know that I'm a thermal guy. I have this PVS 14 I've been messing with. Whatever, I'll put on a helmet. But I need a helmet, and I need a helmet mounted thermal to go with it. So please, if you could be so kind, everyone listening, can you recommend me a helmet and bridge thing and counterweight thing and frankly the whole setup? Because I'm way too busy to research this, guys. I don't have time. Can the community help me be cool with the coolest gear, please? Like, I feel like I've helped you guys so much. Like, by this point, I'm like, can you crowdsource my G.I. Joe kit? Like, can you just tell me what to buy? Just tell me what to buy. Like, at this point, I'm so tired. Like, do I need to call Lucas? Like, don't make me call Lucas, because I will. Speaking of Lucas, I listened to his interview on the C. Bernard podcast. It was good, dude. I like that guy. This guy's cool. Yeah. So yeah, if anyone's out there and you want to help me by picking my gear, please do that. And just put it in the Instagram comments or something. I don't know, or send me an email. Okay. That'd be great. Can you guys like band together and like get me Gucci set up? I just need a helmet that's awesome. Like, what's the best helmet for stuff? I just want to run around in the nighttime. Okay, cool. Thank you for the question. And thank you for thinking of me with regard to helmet mounted thermal. Question 186, sub-question 58. When will you test a Rex? And I guess this later gentleman is asking Rex Silentium. They're a silencer company. They make silencers. The answer to that is when I have time. Bigger irons in the fire right now. And if Rex Silentium wants to, they can always reach out to me for contracted testing anytime they want, which can move them closer to the front of the line. The only time I ever got any contact from them, a person that was running their Instagram account that was not them DM'd me, asking me to DM him or email him or whatever. I don't know. I saved the message because it was super weird on his own personal account. And I was like, please send me an email. Because I was like, I don't even know who you are. And I would like to correspond with like an actual email address to actually like speak with this person. That's usually what I do. Actually, when people speak to me about stuff business related, I try to, as soon as possible, get a phone number so I can speak with them to actually know that they're a real person. You would be surprised how many people immediately never, ever speak with me again after that happens. Why do you think that could be? Why would someone on the internet not want to speak with you on the phone or email you? Why do you think that would happen? Use your imagination. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I know about them. I couldn't even tell you. I don't, and there's other stuff I'm doing. I don't know what. I don't have time for that. That's tomfoolery. I don't really have time for that. I operate professionally. I don't have time for other people using their social media account and then reaching out to me through Instagram. Don't reach out to me through Instagram. I have a website, dude. Just send me an email. Crazy? It's like bizarre to me. So yeah, and if they don't want to reach out, then they're just gonna have to wait until I have time, and frankly, until there's enough demand. Right now, there's not nearly enough demand for test data on those silencers, and so and you can just look at them. They're not complicated. Probably predict their performance at this point. I have to perform triage on request in some way, so that's my current method. Okay, I don't mean to be rude about that, but frankly, like it was such a weird experience that like I'm like, whoa, like weird, because like the guy never reached out after that. I give him my email address. I'm like, hey, like here's my email address, dude. Just reach out. Never got an email. I'll be happy. I would be happy to test those silencers, but not on the list right now. All right. Question 187, sub-question 59. Can you provide us any education on shooting subcaliber for can? For example, 6mm in a 30 caliber silencer. Oh, man. As I know more, you will, sir, ma'am. I don't have enough test data on enough diameter variation and duration variation to give you rules of thumb yet. Well, I can, but I don't know if they're going to be accurate, and I will not give information that's not accurate. That is one thing I try to shy away from doing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I don't want to speculate on that. I'm going to hold off on answering this question. Okay? Thank you for your time. Because you've already seen some stuff that can happen with 5.56 in 7.62, correct? So you already have a basic level of understanding of this, correct? But what do we know about longer duration flow? You ramp up case capacity and some different combustion durations. You could have some different things going on. So when you look at total gas volume, that's another thing to look at. So I'm not sure we can start to draw the same conclusions we can like 5.56 versus 5.56 through 7.62 and like a 6mm through a 7.62. I think the cartridge itself is important, not only the diameter. Okay. Question 188, sub-question 60. Is it theoretically possible to reduce sound to only perceive action noise? It depends on your hearing. You're using the term perceive, okay? Keep in mind, you're talking about psychoacoustics, which a lot of people claim to understand, and it is, psychoacoustics is not what PEW Science is not the data PEW Science gives you, right? I'm looking at hearing damage risk, and a lot of times hearing damage potential correlates with perception a lot of times. But if you think that perception is 100%, well, then you need to Google psychoacoustics. So your question is, is it theoretically possible to reduce sound to only perceive action noise? Well, yeah, it's possible. I mean, if you download a cartridge or you use something with very low energy and the system's big enough, you could probably create a situation that highlights only certain aspects of the shot. Yeah. So when you say action noise, if you're referring to semi-auto, probably not. Because the very nature of semi-auto implies there's some kind of reciprocation. And if you have ejection port noise, which means exposed chamber, that means you're going to have pressure pulse escaping. Now, if you have a bolt gun, you're going to hear the hammer fall. If you have the hearing of a bat, maybe you hear the sear disengage first, and you would then hear internal system combustion. The sound of the explosion inside the firearm. You're going to hear multiple things happening. You're usually going to hear the internal explosion. To hear only action noise, I don't know. It's tough to understand. Give me a firearm example and we can talk about it. I think that would be, because right now I'm dancing around this because I'm actually trying to think dynamically of which firearm would be just give me an example. I'm going to solicit more listener questions, so you'll have another chance. Okay, thank you. Question 189, subquestion 61. What is the purpose of K-cans, and are they viable for anything? And I said 4, and I delayed after 4 because he actually did use the ... Good question, sir or ma'am. The purpose of K-cans? Yeah. They're for being short and reducing sound signature. Short and light is good for maneuverability, guys. Even the loudest K silencer is much quieter than an unsuppressed gun. Like I sometimes don't understand. You guys look at the suppression rating, right? Like you see the unsuppressed. Like guys, like an unsuppressed gunshot is loud, like so loud. Like I know a lot of people like to talk about certain K silencers. Like, oh, that sounds unsuppressed. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I mean, I guess there's technically like the Rugged Radiant in its short configuration. That's one of the loudest silencers ever. But it's still quieter than an unsuppressed rifle. I mean, it depends on the weapon, but excuse me. It depends on the weapon. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't like. They're like, man, why would I even buy this K silencer? It's so loud. It's like, well, expectation, right? Like, what are you doing? If you have hearing protection on, and you're going through a building, and you need to take that sound pressure level down, and drop that impulse such that you're not creating concussion. Well, that's something that a K silencer can do for you. It's really all about use case, I would say, sir or ma'am, and that's why the suppression rating chart is there. Okay. So, good question. Question 190, subquestion 62. Are there any plans to do testing on more AR platforms? Lengths, direct impingement, piston, etc. You're a legend. Hand emoji. When I transcribed this, I must have... I wrote out hand emoji. I wonder what hand emoji he had used. I'm going to go with he probably... hand emoji is probably the one with the hands up. Like I don't know what those emojis mean. Yes, sir, ma'am. And thank you. Okay, the community, including all of you who ask questions, is legendary. So, right back at you, sir or ma'am. The effort is legendary. PEW Science. No, I'll test more AR stuff. We're going to see what happens when I keep going with the Mark 18 for now. It's already making people want to kill me. So why not continue and push that a little more? Yeah, why not? Let's get crazy. What? People already hate me for testing on the Mark 18. I mean, look, the manufacturers are freaking out, dude. Oh, our silencer's not that loud. Well, yes, it is. Question 191, subquestion 63. Who do you think can deadlift more? Eric Rogers or Kevin? I remember when I transcribed this and I thought maybe I shouldn't read that, and now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'll read it. Who do you think can deadlift more, Eric Rogers or Kevin? I don't know, guys. Both of them don't lift weights. That's not really it's not really a contest or a question. I mean, that's like asking like which one of the Olsen twins can beat up Anderson Silva? Like what? Like it's like a nonsensical question. It's like, or maybe that's a bad example. It's like, or which one? Yeah, like who can? Yeah, I don't know. The question has no meaning. It's almost like, I wish them both the best in their future endeavors. Question 192, subquestion 64. Surefire 3 or 4-prong flash hider versus close-time flash hider. I'm gonna say 3-prong. The 4-prong, I think it probably works just as well for the silencer, and I think it's theoretically weaker. That's what the the people justifying not having one say. And then I think it's more expensive because they don't sell it to civilians. And the closed tine doesn't have the seals, so 3-prong. I think that's pretty easy. Yeah? Yeah. For a silencer, I'm assuming you mean silencer use, right, guys? For silencer use. Dedicated silencer use. Okay? Okay, cool. Question 193. Sub-question 65. Are there plans to test the Surefire SOCOM 300 SPS in the near future? Bro. Yeah, it's on the website. I already did that. It's tested. It's all on the website. Let me pull up. Oh, scroll all the way down. Oh, yeah. Sound signature review 657. The Surefire SOCOM 300 SPS and the Q Minifix 300 Blackout Subsonic. That's right. It was published in mid-November of last year, my friend. So go check that out. Question 194, sub-question 66. Adding to mine if you make it. The 4 blast deflector holes are beyond the labyrinth seals. Oh, you know what? This later gentleman, they must be adding to their question. I bet you they were speaking about the Surefire brake, and I think we answered that last time we talked about listener questions. Right. We'll see, sir. I know those holes, it's still venting like the war comp. I think that's what you were talking about last time. It's still venting like the war comp, but it's venting forward of the seal, so it should be okay. I tend to agree. I tend to agree. I think it'll be all right. Right. Yeah. Question 195, sub-question 67. Are shockwave interactions being harnessed by manufacturers? Could that be why OSS is ladder with 300 blackout? I think I know who asked this question. Somewhat, yeah. OSS is ladder with 300 blackout subsonic. And that's important to understand. It's ladder with 300 blackout subsonic because the pressure and duration isn't high enough to take advantage of the flow paths. That's why I think the longer the flow occurs, the more time the OSS has for a net reduction in sound signature. I think that's what's really happening. I don't know that. I don't know what if you're talking about. What are you talking about? Like bouncing? You're talking about shock propagation out of the barrel, then bouncing a rarefaction wave off of and eating at the peak. Like I don't know what you're talking about, sir, ma'am. You need to be more specific with me with regard to shockwave interactions. If you're, are you saying? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're asking. But thank you for the question. Question 196, sub-question 68. Thoughts on those Jesse James FU suppressors shaped like a wave? Legit science? I got to go to Google for this one, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know what that is. I remember Jesse James made a football-shaped silencer. I do remember that. Jesse James FU silencer. FU. You know what? I might have Oh, JJFU suppressors. Oh, it's Firearms Unlimited. Oh, gosh. That went over my head. Oh, JJFU Aerosonic. Huh. Oh, it's $3,000? Dang. Maybe it's good. Huh. Thoughts on these? Shaped like a wave. Legit science? I don't know. Let's look at it right now. Why not? I don't care. Just read about it. Okay. It's, he talks about it. While almost all suppressors on the market use the Hiram Maxim theory of stacking baffles and shooting through them in the hopes of dampening sound, the JJFU Aerosonic TM LSFS low signature firing system has re-engineered sound and flash suppression starting from the ground up. Jesse James and West Coast Choppers has over 25 years of experience in making motorcycle mufflers. The theory behind that is to keep the pressure in while keeping loud sound signature. Yeah, I guess that's what you would do with a muffler. We have found that our approach to the field of sound and flash suppression is unprecedented, as shown by our recent patent approval for our design, which shows no cited references in the last 100 years. Okay. The JJFU Aerosonic LSFS works in the opposite by letting the pressure out while keeping the sound and flash signature to a minimum. The JJFU Aerosonic LSFS is made of the highest quality, lightest materials available without compromising strength. Now they're talking about the strength, has a failure, elongation. Okay, I don't care. That's all material properties. Inconel. Okay, okay. By controlling the air pressure passing through the suppressor in a gentle manner, heat is drastically reduced. Oh, wouldn't you want to control it in an aggressive manner to reduce heat? I don't know. This is made possible by not hypercharging the suppressor chambers with air. Packing hot air on top of hot air unregulated creates a lot of heat. This is why most suppressors cannot be touched after 130-round magazine. The Aerosonic patented design slows down the muzzle pressure by controlling the blast of air as it enters the suppressor chamber, while at the muzzle pressure reaching 1500 psi. You cannot simply deflect it with the hopes of making it quieter. The air pressure must be controlled and bled off, slowing it down. Our unique design lets the air expand in the pulse shape of a supersonic sound wave. All internal surfaces are machined with organic curves in an effort to reduce turbulence. Turbulence equals harmonics equals sound. The more gently you can slow down the air, the quieter the results. Supersonic air pressure is also regulated with our patented inner barrel design. Pressure relief slots are machined in an oscillating pattern. This regulates the outward flowing air to the suppressor chambers. What? This helps the already expelled air to bleed off and not be hypercharged. Nighttime testing was conducted with 5 to 6 rounds shot in semi-auto and full auto. 0 muzzle flash was produced from 25 yards in front of the shooter. Cool. All right, so that's I just read it. I clicked on it when I just clicked it from Google, man, just on their website. I don't know what else to say about that. Oh, okay. I just found a picture of the inside. Huh. Look at that. Oh, man, it's one of those autoplay things, and it went away. I'm gonna actually. Crap. It keeps. God, I'm on their website, but it keeps I'm gonna right click save image as. I'm just going to save it to my desktop right here so I can open the image in my image viewer and I can look at it without having to worry about it disappearing. Okay. Open this up. Fit to window. Display options. Fit to window. Boom. Okay. So I have the silencer in front of me, cross section here on my computer. So this Jesse James Firearms, it's shaped like a football kind of. No, it's not really. Anyway, it's interesting. It's shown disassembled. It looks to assemble in a clamshell with an O-ring, and looks like it has bolts, and it looks like the bottom half is probably drilled and tapped, and then you bolt. Actually, I think both the top and the bottom clamshells are drilled and tapped. Now that I look at the picture, interesting. Okay, so that's interesting. And then the inside, it has a core, machine core, and then it has these, basically, they're baffle discs. So what he's doing is he's definitely allowing for significant gas expansion. So the expansion ratio is definitely large. Yeah, I mean, I think it probably does work as a silencer. I think that I would imagine it probably has a low frequency, maybe. I don't know. I would really like to test it. I'm not sure. your question, sir, ma'am, let me go back to your question. Your question was legit science? And I don't want to say anything bad about this. But a lot of the stuff that they said in that narrative is not really sound. So yeah, I'm not going to say the silencer doesn't work. I'm just going to say that I don't know what a lot of that stuff means, and I've never heard anyone say that before ever. So I don't think that's real. Yeah. We'll see. I can test it. We'll see. I don't know that that's a really high market demand item. Okay. Thank you for that question. It's interesting to look at that. Thank you for sharing that with us. I think that's worth looking at just as a curiosity. Question 197, sub-question 69. Is it possible to achieve a suppression rating in the 50s or 60s with a tuned full power AR? The Holy Grail. It calls out to you. Like the siren song. No, I don't know. If it is, we'll find out. Thank you for tuning in. This concludes listener questions in this solicitation. I don't know. 50s or 60s? What, at the ear? You smoking crack, dude? Have you been looking at the bolt gun reviews? What how many 20-inch bolt gun reviews do you have above 50 at the ear? How many so far in 2 years? You're asking me if we can do it on an AR? Come on, guys. That would imply... What would that imply? Think about what that implies. I'll let you figure that out at home. That's your homework assignment until I come back with the new listener questions. Okay, how good was that? And this is sub-question 69. Nice. We ended on that. 100. I answered 197 questions for you guys so far. I am going to go ahead and highlight that row in yellow as typical and save the file. 197 questions answered by me for you, PEW Science. Okay, I'm closing that. That's great, man. That was actually I get a kick out of that. That's cool. Topic 3 at a time of 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 30 seconds. That's right. New sound signature review coming this week. Yes, friends. I'm running out of gas. This is going to be short. New sound signature review this week. There's going to be 2 of them, and it's going to be interesting. Here I go again, man. Releasing multiple deliverables at once. Don't get used to it. Okay. Sometimes it's required. You guys you're gonna get some more contracted work released this week. I told you it's been a busy first quarter. It's good to see. I actually don't know what's going to happen when I release this data, though. I'm a little nervous about it. But one thing I know is that some people will not be happy. And I think some people, though, I think will be happy, including the many consumers who have asked PEW Science for this data. And that's, you got to understand, like, not only is this contracted work, but this has demand. Okay, so and these reviews they're going to come out of left field. Many listeners to the podcast probably don't have this stuff on. You probably don't have this stuff on your radar. But hey, when a client comes to PEW Science and wants me to evaluate their stuff, I do it. That's why I'm here. I'm telling you, it is what it is. So it was actually a pretty interesting test series, and it gives us some really good data points. Okay, so I think regardless of your interest in the silencer, you'll see this week the data is going to benefit a lot of people. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Okay, and the technology itself, actually, because you'll be able to see what the technology is. So you'll be like, oh, that's how good that can be, and you'll be like, oh, it's good to know, and I'll be like, yeah, it's good to know. So yeah, we'll see, and we'll see how folks react to it. It should be interesting. Folks love to guess when I give hints like this on the podcast. Some of you guess right sometimes, but not often. You're not going to guess this time. All right. In fact, if you guess correctly this time, I might owe you a beer. I don't see it happening, though. Prove me wrong. Topic 4, a time of 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 55 seconds. Man. This is going to sound corny, but like I said in the intro, PEW Science was founded to benefit the end user. When I say I've been using that term with a couple of people as I've been speaking with them lately. I've been saying the word end user, and it's starting to me to sound a little cringy, kind of cringy. It's starting to sound like I'm like using a buzzword. Oh, the end user, he's all official. I don't want it to sound like that, but I mean it because I was using that term because that's a term that I feel best captures the type of folks that are benefiting from the effort. I think it is the end user, and PEW Science is getting more frequent inquiries, and it's getting more frequent that I'm asked to test for companies. So that's really cool. So that's just like that previous topic. Like, it's really cool. When the company comes and they want their silencer tested in the PEW Science Proving Ground, I love it. I think everyone benefits from it. I think it's great. So that's cool. But now, or not but now, inquiries from other parties are getting more frequent. So that's cool too. And I'm getting really great feedback from all you, and I do appreciate that. And when I announced it, this whole effort, I told you I'm doing it for you, and I think some people thought that was like a sales pitch, but I am doing it for you. That is why I'm doing it. So we're certainly well on our way to making a big difference in the industry. Okay, so this, government and military are aware now, and it's getting cool. So, because they see what's possible, and things can move faster with PEW Science, and also, that's just kind of what is it? It's just innovation, capitalism, private sector. Just doing stuff. It's just that's how it works, right? It's kind of cool. So yeah. Oh! And I almost forgot. I have some 9mm hosts on order from HK. I have decided unilaterally to go with roller delayed blowback for the 9mm hosts. I actually just decided that today on my drive home. We can compare short barrel and long barrel. And I'm not saying I'm never going to test other types of 9mm guns, but I think we owe it to the community to start with the MP5. Okay? Or SP5, as it were. But anyway, I don't know what the timeline is to get those from HK. I think it's delayed, but I put the order in. So PEW Science has put the order in. And if HK, if you're listening, can you throw me a bone so we can get this done? Yeah. And I wanted to do with HK guns because I didn't want roller delayed was the first thing. But specifically, I wanted to do with HK guns because I wanted to make sure that the guns work properly. I've had enough problems with HK clones that I'm not doing off-brand. Now, with regard to semi-auto 300 blackout, we need to start to move into host selection for that. Okay, guys, and I do have some possible testing coming up for a military entity in which maybe I use a weapon. Well, not maybe, but I will be using a weapon from them for something. And so maybe pending that data, maybe that will help shape the decision of what consumers and the public will get with regard to, because you're not going to get that data, but you might, maybe I test with some weapons that are like, okay, well, that they're doing this. Maybe the consumers need to understand this. Maybe consumers get data with semi-auto 300 blackout from a certain platform. You feel me? Because I don't want to base it on something that's not relevant. Okay? Yeah, so we'll see. I just wanted to give you, sorry to be cryptic, but that's all I can tell you. Okay. So, thank you, end users, consumers, military, law enforcement, government, the people using the silencers. Thank you for seeing the value in this, and I'm glad it's helping. And stay tuned for more data this week. That's right. Stay safe out there, and I will talk with you folks again soon. All right, bye.